Good day, ma'am and classmates. I am Hanishin Lim CALDITO from DVM 3 and I would like to discuss to you the minerals in animal nutrition. So, minerals in geology and mineralogy, a mineral or mineral species is broadly speaking a solid substance with a fairly well-defined chemical composition and specific crystal structures that occurs naturally in pure form. Pure form. Here, the periodic system lists 104 elements. There are about 40 minerals elements that occurs in measurable amount in nature in the plants and animal tissues. These are the categories, mainly classified into two. We have the macro elements and the micro elements. The minerals which are required in relatively large amount and in most cases they are used in the synthesis of structural tissues. Ano. So their concentration is expressed in term of percentage. Unlike on the micro element, it is in the parts per million. And the use of major elements on the major important elements are calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium, and sodium, potassium, chlorine, and sulfur. So magnesium for the heart muscles and the bones and blood sugar levels. And if you're not getting enough magnesium in your diet, it can increase the chance of health problems such as heart attack or stroke. Sulfur, it is used in protein synthesis, which is essential for building proteins for muscles, hair, skin, and cartilage and collagen. Also for detoxification and cellular health, and also used in metabolism and anti-inflammatory. Whereas functions of chlorine, they are required for the formation of HCl in the gastric juice, and also in the form of sodium chloride. It assists in the digestion of food. So it is associated with the sodium and potassium in acid-base relationship and osmotic regulation. It also helps in cell nutrition, growth, and reproduction among the animals. Also, it is used in nerve signals, muscle contraction, cell volume and regulation, and maintains gradients, which keeps sodium potassium high in the outside, and I mean sodium high in outside concentration, and then potassium ion high on the inside against their natural diffusion, creating the electrochemical gradient. So if if this is not properly maintained, or uh, it is the swell becomes the cell becomes swell if too much gradient on the inside, and if it cannot go diffuse outside or outside, it will eventually explode or burst out, and it becomes apoptosis. No, it's like apoptosis in a way, So of course, potassium, we all know, chlorine, sulfur. Microelements or minor elements, they are required in trace amounts, only in trace amounts, and usually functions as activators or as a component of enzyme system. The concentration of trace elements is expressed in terms of parts per million, since their concentration is very, very low in the plant and in the body. The important trace elements are iron, copper, iodine, cobalt, zinc, manganese, fluorine, and selenium, molybdenum, chromium, nickel, silicon, which all and etc. Which all plays a functional role in animal physiology. So minerals in animal physiology are vital for the body to function properly, performing jobs like building strong bones and teeth, regulating bodily fluids, and helping to convert food into energy. And also, they are also essential for muscle contraction, nerve impulse, transmission, and the creation of hormones and enzymes. So, if not, if deficient kasi ni nga kuan, magkakayaon abnormality nimo homeostasis, which eventually leading you to have a disease or abnormalities, so we have the two here, uh, oops, which are the essential mineral elements and non-essential. Essential, these are those minerals which have been proved to have a metabolic role in the animal body, whereas non-essential, most of mineral elements are simply component of animal tissue since they are present in the diet and are considered to be non-essential as they do not play any essential metabolic role in the plant or animal body. So what are the general functions of minerals? The functions of minerals in animals' nutrition are interrelated. However, a few of the general functions are given as a constituent of skeletal structure, such as of the calcium and phosphorus, which are essential for the formation of strength and maintenance of bones and teeth of the animal, and also in regulating acid-base equilibrium to help maintain the normal pH of body fluids, ensuring proper cellular functions and preventing harmful acidity or alkalinity. They are helpful in maintaining the colloidal state of body matter, regulating physical properties, viscosity, diffusion, osmotic pressure, and they act as enzymes, Macro elements, major elements. Function, metabolism, deficiency, symptoms, and sources of these minerals. As for me, I would be discussing about the calcium and the phosphorus mainly. The others are discussed by my other group mates, So calcium and phosphorus serves as the major structural elements of skeletal tissue, with more than 99% of the total body calcium being found in the bone and the teeth. And the hardest tissue, I would like to just give you an example. And hardest tissue is the enamel of the teeth. So, the two mainly focuses on each other, helps in regulating the musculoskeletal structure of the body of an animal. So here we have the calcium in the blood is kept within a normal range so the body can function properly. In most animals, the normal blood calcium level is 9 to 11 milligrams per 100 ml of serum. Inside the body cells, calcium is found only in very small negligible amounts because most calcium works outside the cell, especially in the blood and the bones. In the blood plasma, calcium exists in three forms. The ionized free calcium, which consists of 45 to 50%. This is the active form of calcium. It is important for muscle contraction, nerve function, and etc. So they are intercorrelated naman. The second, protein-bound calcium, 40 to 45%. Also, so this portion is attached mainly to albumin and other plasma proteins. It acts as a reserve and is not immediately active. Third and the last, complex calcium, which consists of about 5%. This small portion is combined with inorganic substances and is affected by the pH of the blood. So in laying hens, blood calcium levels are much higher, 30 to 40 milligrams per 100 ml, because they need large amounts of calcium for eggshell formation. So as we go deeper into the discussion, it will be discussed, ano. So just to give an idea, if deficient ang calcium and hence, ano, magkakaroon sila problema sa ira bone structure, kaya which leads to the deficiency, which will be discussed by me later on. So we proceed. Factors affecting the level of blood calcium, the absolute levels of calcium and phosphorus. Here we can see that a low intake of either element over long periods of time leads to the decreased blood calcium level. A calcium level and a phosphorus ratio of 1:1 to 2:1 is usually recommended. Mas indeed needed and calcium more than the phosphorus, but intercorrelated sila, so it does function. It doesn't function separately, Fat content in the diet. So impaired digestion and absorption of fat cause impaired absorption of calcium, because calcium forms soaps which are insoluble. So this is how or why the calcium soaps forms, Calcium can react with fatty acids. When this happens, it forms calcium soaps, which are insoluble compounds. This is commonly occurs in the digestive tract or when calcium is present in hard water. How? Fats are broken down into fatty acids, calcium ions combined with these fatty acids, and the reaction produces calcium salts of fatty acids known as calcium soaps. In animal nutrition, calcium soap formation can reduce fat digestion and absorption because the insoluble calcium fat complexes cannot be easily absorbed by the intestines. The phytic acid and oxalates are natural compounds found in some plants food that can bind calcium in the intestine. Oxalates react with calcium to form calcium oxalate, an insoluble salt. Once calcium becomes insoluble, it cannot be absorbed by the intestine. So as a result, the availability of calcium is reduced even if the diet contains enough calcium. This is why foods high in oxalates or phytic acid can decrease calcium absorption in animals and humans. So here we can see that the foods that are high in oxalate and high in phytic acid, which mainly plants, Acidity relation, here we can see in the intestine, so lower pH nga ni acidic, better calcium absorption, and it is below 7. Higher pH alkaline, poor calcium absorption, pH level is 7 or beyond. So protein in the diet, calcium salts are much more soluble in amino acid than water. High protein level increases the absorption of calcium. So here we can see the calcium salts, So vitamin D in the diet. Vitamin D provides acidic medium in the intestine, causing more calcium absorption. Kasi we all know naman na vitamin D helps in the bone formation and regulation, And parathyroid hormones regulate calcium level in the plasma. Plasma is the liquid part of blood that remains after blood cells are removed. And functions on plasma, it transport of nutrients, hormones, waste products, and also maintaining the blood pressure and volume. And also, it participates in regulating pH and electrolyte balance, supporting immune functions through proteins and antibodies. In short, the plasma is like the transport medium of the blood. Without it, the blood cannot function properly and may cause diseases. The plasma, we can see the plasma through the in the laboratories, in the test tube, If you only need to sample and blood inside the test tube, it will go down or add sa ubos and blood, while the plasma, which is the yellow part, it will go up, So di lang ako nakahanap ng sample in the picture. Kidney threshold. In a normal adult, any extra calcium absorbed from the kidney is readily excreted in the urine. Sex hormone, low of estrogen hormone causes poor absorption of calcium. Function of calcium. In the skeletal formation, it is a major component of bones and teeth, giving them strength and structure. In normal blood clotting, calcium is essential for blood clotting cascade, helping blood from clots to stop bleeding. And rhythmic heart action, calcium regulates the contraction of heart muscles, maintaining a steady heartbeat. Neuromuscular excitability and enzyme activation. Enzymes. Calcium activates several enzymes like lipase, succinic dehydrogenase, ATPase, proteolytic enzymes, which are important for digestion, metabolism, and energy production. A number of enzymes, as I've said, here we can see the curdling of milk, Curdling of milk, calcium interacts with milk proteins, casein, whatever you like, to help milk from curds important in dairy and digestion. Acid-base balance, permeability of membrane. The importance of permeability of membranes. The calcium regulates how substances pass through cell membranes, helping maintain cell functions. So as you go through deep physiological properties of the body, you will learn how calcium mainly it's used it's used in the body. So especially in the nerves, neurons. So we move up. Absorption of calcium, main site is the small intestine, especially the proximal portion of the duodenum. The percentage of absorption of calcium decreases. The major route of excretion of calcium is, of course, the feces. Importance of calcium in the poultry: egg cell formation, bone development, muscle function, blood clotting, enzyme activation, and overall productivity. Because as we can see here in the requirement of calcium, the percentage of dry matter in fed high in proportion and poultry or an hens or any avian species they are mainly in need of calcium. Without it, they may be not function properly, So important note, analyzing calcium on a dry matter basis is essential for accurate nutritional evaluation and balancing ration, as it removes the variable of moisture content. Deficiency symptoms. Ricket. These symptoms occurs in young growing animals. The symptoms of rickets are shape in bones, enlargement of joints, lameness and stiffness. The condition is called ricketic rosary. Calcification of normal bone does not take place. Osteomalacia, weak and porous and soft. Here we can see the weak and porous soft in these parts, in this image. So continuous mobilization of calcium from the bones for the higher demand with a low intake is responsible for this condition. Osteoporosis, this is characterized by a decreased bone mass. It is due to the bone resorption being greater than the bone formation. It is prominent in aging and related to gonadal hormone deficiency. Resorption, nauubos compared to production. That is why leads to osteoporosis. Milk fever or parturient paresis calcium tetany. Here we can see the ruminant or the cow lying down, shortly after parturition or ang panganganak. High-yielding cows may suffer from milk fever. The serum calcium goes down with the result that there are muscular spasms and in extreme cases paralysis. Pregnant animals, cow's bone may be dead or very weak, or hypocalcemia. No? We can see this in the species of a dog when they are recumbent, or in Tagalog, if kung nakikita mo yung mga aso na parang naglalakad with two four limbs, but the hind limbs are parang nadadanas or gini-slide la nila, that's the hypocalcemia. Next, in laying hens, deficiency of calcium results in improper development of the eggshell, which is either not fully formed or easily breakable. The deficiency causes soft bones and beak, curved legs, and low egg production. So, source of calcium, here we can see the legumes, the animal byproduct, and the dicalcium phosphate, and the calcium carbonate, and so much and so on. Here we can see the calcium carbonate, the calcium phosphate, or the legumes, and the dicalcium. And here we can see the feedstock and the first percentage of calcium. We can see that oyster shell and limestone are essential dietary calcium sources to support egg production, bone strength, and overall poultry health. So, in terms of feed, mas ma-open, naging gagamitan mo ground oyster shell, limestone, ginahalo mo sa feed mo, sa imo grits, para maupay an bone formation or bone regulation sa imo hens. Phosphorus. So, phosphorus, major portion of phosphorus in the animal body is distributed in the bones. The content of inorganic phosphorus in the blood is 49 milligrams per 100 ml depending upon the species and age. Maintenance of inorganic, take note, inorganic phosphorus level in the blood is governed by the same factors which promote calcium and phosphorus assimilation. So here, whole blood contains about 35 to 40 milligrams phosphorus per 100 ml. So if you convert it, you will have from 225,000, i-convert mo, magiging 250 grams of phosphorus in the blood. So the functions of phosphorus plays an important role in the formation of bones, teeth, along with calcium. The amount of phosphorus present in this structure is about 80% of the total. So it maintains the normal level of blood calcium and its proper activity. So same lang, same lang sila sa calcium as I've discussed later. So it might be just you think the same lang. So calcium and phosphate have an inverse relationship in the body, This explains it. When one is high, the other is typically low. This is because phosphate binds to calcium and the body uses hormones like parathyroid hormone to regulate the balance between the two minerals. So it plays active role for the formation of phospholipid in the cells, nucleic acid, the DNA and the RNA, coenzyme, phosphoroprotein, and phospholipid. It plays a vital role in energy metabolism and the formation of sugar phosphate like adenosine diphosphate and triphosphates. So here we have the deficiency symptoms. Rickets, same lang sila, So rickets, again, imbalance in the calcium in the youngs, and also the phosphorus, and the osteomalacia, the deficiency of the phosphorus causes an osteomalacia in adult with also the deficiency of calcium. Pica is a disease deprived appetite. Phosphorus deficiency causes a specific symptom in the cattle. The affected animals have abnormal appetites and chew woods, bone, rugs, and other foreign materials, and the animals become very weak, if not treated, they may die due to weakness or due to secondary infection, which occur from eating decaying bones and other materials. So as a veterinarian, you must provide a clinical eye, para ma-distinguish mo kahit visual check mo pala sa animal, distinguish mo na, and also after that, make sure na if madu ka na sa animal, dire mo gihapon, you're not going to disrupt their comfort zone, so hinay-hinay kala dito pagkapot, ngadto kala sa luyo muna ka dito, ganyan, dahan-dahan lang, and next, and also nagkaya on abnormality in the reproduction. So low dietary intake of phosphorus has also been associated with poor fertility, dysfunction of ovaries causing inhibition, depression, and irregularity of estrus. Requirements of phosphorus: percentage of dry matter in feed, dairy cows, sheep and goat, and poultry. Here we can see also the highest that it needs. Nagkakayon the hen, or the poultry or the avian species, they are mainly in need of the said two minerals, the calcium and the phosphorus. So sources of phosphorus, we have the fish meal, meat meal, bone meal, cereal grains, wet bran or dry feeds, and leguminous fodders, lucerne, which are poor in sources of phosphorus. And most of the phosphorus present in the cereals and their byproducts is in the form of phytates, which are the salt of phytic acid, a phosphoric acid derivative. So ruminant can utilize the phytate phosphorus due to rumen microbial activity. So we all know naman na really that the ruminant have a unbelievable microbial activity in their guts, the 4 compartments, on iton microbes that helps them regulate and so much and so on, that helps them to maintain their homeostasis and maintain their healthy and vigorous body. So all in all, lastly, we have the phosphorus content of feedstuff. Here we can see that the rock phosphate and dicalcium phosphate having significantly percentage of the phosphorus. And that's all. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, my classmates, for listening. Okay, thank you.